No, probably not. It says after church. We
In
got
the
a standard here.
meantime, go listen to the song. I promise you, it will make you feel like you can do anything.
Okay.
Just because she's so aggressive and she's so like
She
she has so much confidence. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it's just about how you feel.
So Joe, you just look like, man, who is this? Like, I know you know who it is though.
Yeah, I know.
What's your
who it
thoughts?
is. I'm familiar. I've never listened to the song.
Okay.
But I think a good part of like understanding what music means to you is like you got to know yourself, and you got to know who God is, and you got to know yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like know yourself. So when I got saved, my appreciation for hip hop, the smooth beats didn't just go away, and it's not supposed to.
I agree with that.
But you also have to know God. So how can God use my appreciation for certain beats, certain lyrical rhyme schemes and things like that?
Mhm.
How can God use that and interpret it for me in a way that would be edifying to my spirit?
Yeah.
And so that springs up a whole lot of just awesome music and just genres within the context of like Christian hip hop, man. And there's cats like Stephen the Levite. Not just like, and it's not just like Lecrae. It's like Jay Gibbons. There's a lot of cats out there that are doing their thing and keeping Jesus at the forefront, man. And so it's just like, and then after that, after you know Jesus, it's like, okay, know yourself. Like if you feel like you're in a space where you can listen to certain music without it taking you to a certain place of like being unfaithful to the Lord.
Right.
Hey man, like there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ. You feel me? So it's
Gotcha.
just like I've heard of Cardi B. I haven't listened to the whole song, but just know yourself, know God, know yourself.
Yeah. I gotta write that down as a homework assignment to figure out exactly who that is. And I now do my research.
Do that.
But
do your research.
But you raised a good point, and this is one of the points that I wanted to talk about as it relates to music, because some people think that you cannot listen to certain types of music else you're going to hell, basically, and that's what they'll tell you, you know, in no uncertain terms. Like if you listen to that, you're basically going to hell. So how do you guys look at that? Because I like the way you said it, because you have to know yourself, you know the Lord, know yourself, and then you have I guess a stable foundation for whenever you are entering into anything, and that includes music. So is that the formula? Is that how you guys filter the music that is out now and then decide? Because I know a lot of folks your age that really listen to, they're all in on the music that's out now. Some are saved, some are not, but they don't feel as though it matters whether they listen to the music or not. They feel more so about the relationship. So is that the sentiment that is felt, or am I off with that?
I feel like a lot of young people try to go toward that reason, but at the same time, how the world is changing, they're trying to fit in. They're trying to, you know, this is my friend, so I'm gonna do what they're doing, you know. So it's more so, I feel as though they're more so worried about the dances that's coming out, you know, how the money dance and the nay and everything else, and they just really want to focus on the fun of it instead of what they're actually listening to.
Right. So I come from a school of thought, and I'm gonna throw this out at you guys. I come from a school of thought of whatever you ingest is whatever you're gonna bring back up at some point. So if you listen or if you take stuff in, that's gonna become an actual part of who you are in some way, shape, or form. So my selection, therefore, is a little bit based. It's not a little bit, but it's generally based upon that. And that's not to say that I don't still rock out to certain things, because like I tell my wife all the time, when I go to the gym, like there's something about DMX that helps me lift
you got
15 more pounds, 20 more pounds.
Max out.
And I'm not gonna sit here on my
out.
own show and lie and say it's always the clean version, because it's not. You know, sometimes, you know, Party Up gets me going, and I be like, okay, I can throw another plate on it now. You know what I mean? But
Parking in your ear while you're working out is gonna get you there.
But I still subscribe to the thought that, you know, the filter is the filter, because even though, and I'm being very transparent, even though I'll listen to that and I'll find myself in the car later on, like, and I hear the words in my own head because I've listened to it. So do you guys think and feel that is true? Like whatever you ingest at some point is going to come out of you in some way. So is there danger involved when you when you play that line, or is there not danger? How do you guys look at that?
I feel as though it's not, it is about what you ingest, because we're technically supposed to watch our eye gate, our ear gate, all of our gates. So just like how Joe said before, as long as you know the type of person you are, that you can hold that foundation of what you grew up on, which is the right path that God set you on, then you should be fine. You shouldn't be, you know, technically feeding your spirit, not the negative things that's going on, because it is like a lot of negative music out now. You know, it has changed over time. And with them just constantly repeating it or constantly thinking about it, that's when maybe you should take a break from that and maybe listen to some gospel sometimes, because just like you said, just like you said.
Like, I'm gonna listen to this Molly Percocet now. I'm gonna put on a Ty Tribbett, so I'll be okay. Then you be in church talking about Molly Percocet.
Yeah, right.
Accidentally.
And one thing you mentioned is like the idea of salvation, right? So like, you're not going to hell if you listen to me, because it's like, it's not by works, and like that's not the gospel that we've come to acknowledge, right? And so it's like with at that same token, the word of God is what provides that foundation. And so you got to focus on the word of God. So, and you also have to focus on discipleship, right? So if we're called to make disciples, I personally choose to be aware of what I'm putting into myself, because if it's okay for me to do, then it's okay for whoever I'm bringing up to do. And so like that's my conviction. So like if I catch myself watching something or listening to something that is a little bit questionable, it's like, okay, am I willing to let it go for the sake of the gospel? If this caused my brother to stumble, if this caused my sister to stumble, am I willing to depart from it in order for the sake of their salvation and the example that I'm leading towards? You know what I mean?
That's pretty good, man. So now if Jesus said everybody had to stop watching Power.
See, I don't know.
Hold on, Jesus.
She said, hold on, Jesus.
Salvation was based on the
But Ghost has said, though. Ghost has said. But that's true talk, though, man. I appreciate that. So I mean, as far as just to walk this a little bit further. So we're in an era where I would kind of describe it as almost like, you know, what I want is what I get, what I want is what I do. You know, that's kind of what the culture is kind of dictating right now. I don't know if you guys see it that way, but I kind of see it like that. Like, people are really just, whatever I want to go after, I'm gonna go after it. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I'm gonna handle it the way I want to handle it, and I'm accountable to me, and then that's it. You know, that's just kind of the energy that I feel and see from my own observation as far as culture goes, because there doesn't seem to be as it was in previous times, and I'll clarify that by saying there's always been a certain element of society where that thought process goes, like everything goes whatever I want, however I want. But it just seems to me to be just a tad bit more prevalent now. It could have to do with technological advancements. It could have to do with the fact that we have complete access to absolutely everything. You don't have to go to the library now to get, you know, a book that's kind of risque or something like that. You just whip out your phone and kind of do it like that. So the level of access has changed, and our accessibility has changed to everything. But how do you guys feel? Do you guys think that our culture has become a bit loose in its morality, whereby morality doesn't necessarily have the same level of importance that it used to? Do you guys see that? Do you look at it that way, or how do you feel about that? Just society in general. As they ponder, I like this. All these minds just ticking, talking. The Jeopardy music is playing.
I mean, my first thought is like, are we talking about society in general, or are we talking about the church?
Yeah.
We'll come to the church.
Because it's like,
because I always like to baptize the church.
Stand.
We come into the church.
Yeah.
Let's start outside the church walls before we come get the church.
Okay,
All right,
so
so
more specifically, our generation. Is that what you're pinpointing? Like,
yeah, just in these times, because I mean, you have people in your age group that are representative of what I just said, but you also have people who aren't. You know, there's people my age that are the exact same way. Trust me. So I'm not. This is not a millennial bashing. This is just saying that this is kind of where it is right now, like the era that we're in. So to answer your question, it's about everybody.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm 19, so I have a lot of friends who are.
She's 19.
Okay, so I have a lot of friends who are either really young
Mm-hmm.
or kind of older. 19 is a weird age. It's like you're too
Yeah.
old for some things, but you're also too young for a lot of things. And you know, but I do see like a lot of people in my generation are go-getters.
Yeah.
That's just our mindset, you know. And because we have technology, it's way easier for us to just go get it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever we want, it is right there. You know,
Yeah.
but the older generation, they didn't have as much access that we have.
That's
you
true.
know?
We had AOL.
And at the same time,
Dewey Decimal System.
as well as things like it seems like things are just easier for us. You
Yeah.
know, oh y'all got technology. You know, all y'all gotta do is click a few buttons and boom.
True.
But it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, just as fast as we got access to everything, we got access to everything. You know, they didn't just give us a computer and give us access to the internet and like seclude it to all the good stuff.
Right.
You know, we have bullying, we have online bullying. We have all porn. We have everything on the internet available to us. So at the same time, we have to, like you said, know ourselves and be able to filter it all out. You know, it's way harder for us. I feel like
I appreciate
we don't have
that.
parents who are. Well, we do have parents, but we don't have.
I was
the
going to ask you
same
about
type
that in a
of
few
strict-
seconds. Like, really?
We don't have the same strict bring up that you know other generations had. I know for a fact that my mom, she didn't beat me.
Really?
I mean, she has before.
Wow.
I know what a beating feels like, but she didn't beat me.
I have no idea what that means.
She didn't beat me at all. It was.
My mother just said, "You never too old for a butt whooping."
Jeez.
But my mom was a young mom. Right?
Okay.
And she got beatings, you know. So being a young mom and having gotten beatings and stuff, she understood that building relationships with your children was just as important as disciplining them, right?
Man,
So my
somebody should
mom
have
would
told
be
my
like,
father that.
my mom would be like, we're having a family meeting. And we used to dread that, okay? The family meeting is like 2-3 hours long. Talking about everything. Stuff from months ago, stuff from 3
How about
years
the back
ago.
there smiling? She over there like, yeah, we had those.
I'm just like, can I just get a beating? I should have been. You know, it's so much
Could have been to
faster.
sleep, right?
Exactly.
I
She
cried
wanted
myself to
us
sleep.
Right. Exactly. She wanted us to understand, you know, why we shouldn't do this, or why we couldn't do this, or why she did blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that plays a big part in our generation. You know, we have parents who are about our age. Me and my mom grew up together, technically. So with that type of understanding, you know, it empowered us. But I feel like it also had its issues too.
Sure.
You know, like everything else.
I like the one piece that you said, and I want to just tailspin off on that, and you guys jump in on this too. But you said it actually is harder for you guys because of the access, because of the stuff that you can engage in, and the things that are out there. And I actually appreciate that perspective, and I like that. So talk about that for a second, because some people, and you know, I'll actually say, you know, I've been guilty of it on an occasion with myself, where you compare. Especially as a parent, you compare what your kids do to what you used to do, or you compare where you are today versus where you were yesterday, and I don't think that there's a full appreciation for what you said, Kiana, because there are those who believe the narrative that you guys have it easy, but to have that much access, to have that much availability to all these different things can be challenging. So Joe, talk about that for a second. It's because like we joke at work all the time. It's like, it's real in these streets.
It's
like
super real.
It's
super
real.
real.
So
And
just talk about that.
The real part about it is not just the accessibility, but the choice. Because like Sin started with a choice, right? And so it's like you have the choice to explore and be creative and use your gifts, but you also have the choice to get distracted very easily. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, for myself, it was hard, even like coming into marriage and figuring out what that looked like. Just acknowledging that I had a choice to either get distracted, or I had a choice to use my creativity, use what God had given me to follow His plan. And it's like sometimes you do fall short of that, and it's like, I think that leads into another subject about like the community that you surround yourself with, who's like helping disciple you and bring you up and to where you know that you should be. So I think that's kind of like my perspective on that. We all have a lot more choices.
Yeah. So Tammy, so it's hard, and you know, you guys admitted to that. But in what way do you think that it's been most challenging because of all the stuff that's there?
It's
What has been most challenging?
At the end of the day, anybody can post anything on social media. It doesn't have to be specifically YouTube, Instagram, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just anywhere and everywhere, like you can really post anything. And for people to have that type of bad spirit where they don't really care how it affects their life or the people that's around them, or they don't care who see, you're just gaining in other young people to really get distracted. And I really like both of y'all points when y'all said it is a lot of access, because you can get distracted so easy.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we have young people that's thinking about, oh, I wish my body was like that, the girl I saw on Instagram, or I wish I was as pretty as her as in the magazine, and it really starts to discourage them. And then, especially all depending what you're going through in your life at that time, being around that access is not good, because you're really just going to keep draining your spirit with the wrong things. You're going to drain your mindset, and then next thing you know, you feel like you're on a whole different path than what God had set you on in the first place. And you're wondering, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? So it is really hard, because we're young, we're still learning, we're still growing, so it's very hard.
Yeah, there needs to be I think there needs to be more of a level of appreciation for that position. We had somebody weigh in online. Envy Johnson said, I feel as though as society we're corruptible by communications, which will allow an opportunity to stretch us from what we know it to be right. He said, reason I say stretch is because at the point we fed it and give up, we go back to what we know, which is God's way. So by choice, we draw the line we draw the line and turn to the way of God, because he's been leading us, just like we choose to cross that line we know we do not belong. So I appreciate what he's saying. It's a constant pull, and you have everything pulling on each side, and it's kind of tough
especially if you're
to
not
walk
in
in
the
that.
right environment either.
Yeah, well, that goes to Joe's point about your village and having the people around you. If you don't have the right type of people around you, if you ain't got a tribe around you, it's going to be very difficult to maintain this walk. And I mean, I'm telling you that as a person of my age, you know, if you don't have the right type of people in your corner, you're going to constantly find yourself repeating mistakes and doing things that you don't necessarily want to do. So we come up to our first break, but I appreciate you guys. If you're tuned in, you're listening to Awesome God Radio. It's the After Church Show with Greg and friends. This is our first Millennial Mashup. And we are really having a good conversation with these folks. I encourage you to jump on Facebook. We are streaming live on our fan page, the After Church Radio Show fan page. So if you want to join in on the conversation, please join in on the conversation. We will be reading your comments and interacting with you live as we continue this conversation that we are having with these millennials. We thank you for listening. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. It's the After Church Show with Greg and friends.